Captain Marcus Chen walked through the grimy corridors of Proxima Station, his boots echoing against the metal flooring. The space station orbited a dead planet in the outer rim, serving as a haven for traders, smugglers, and refugees from across the galaxy. Marcus needed someone to clean his cargo ship, the Iron Phoenix, and the station's job board had plenty of desperate workers willing to take on dirty jobs for cheap. The hiring office smelled like recycled air and desperation. Behind a cracked glass partition sat Cree, a four-armed Centauri with tired eyes. She wore patched clothing that had seen better decades, and her blue-tinted skin bore the ritual scars that marked her as a former soldier. "You need work?" Marcus asked, studying her application on his tablet. Her credentials showed military service, mechanical expertise, and, surprisingly, advanced technical skills. Way overqualified for ship cleaning, which made him suspicious. Cree's voice carried the musical undertones typical of her species. "Yes, Captain Chen. I can clean, maintain systems, perform basic repairs. I work efficiently and require minimal compensation." Marcus frowned. Something felt off. Centauri soldiers were elite warriors, not janitors. "Why are you taking a cleaning job? Your record shows you were a combat engineer." Her forearms tensed slightly. "The war ended badly for my people. I am displaced. I need honest work to survive." That was an understatement. Marcus knew about the Centauri hegemony conflict. When the Centauri resistance finally fell, millions became refugees scattered across the galaxy. Most ended up in situations exactly like this. Brilliant, skilled people reduced to taking whatever work they could find. "Can you handle zero-G cleaning?" "My ship's artificial gravity is patchy in some sections," Marcus said. "I am experienced with all environments, Captain." Marcus made his decision. Something about her quiet dignity impressed him. Plus, his regular cleaning crew had been arrested for smuggling spice through his cargo hold without permission. "All right, Cree. The job pays 50 credits, includes 1 meal, and you can sleep in the crew quarters tonight. Work starts at 800 tomorrow." Relief flickered across her alien features. "Thank you, Captain Chen. I will not disappoint you." The Iron Phoenix sat in Docking Bay 7, a medium-sized cargo hauler that had seen better years. Marcus led Cree through the airlock, noting how she automatically checked the seal integrity and atmospheric readings. Definitely military training. "Ship's been running freight routes for 8 months without a deep clean," Marcus explained as they walked through the corridors. "Previous crew left it in rough shape. I need every surface scrubbed, all filters replaced, and the cargo bay decontaminated." Cree surveyed the ship with professional eyes. "What type of cargo do you typically transport?" "Legal stuff, mostly. Agricultural equipment, medical supplies, manufactured goods, nothing exotic." Marcus paused at his cabin door. "Cree, can I ask you something?" She turned all 4 of her attention to him, a gesture that still unnerved humans. "What really happened during the war? The news feeds never gave the full story." Her mandibles clicked softly, a sign of distress in her species. "My people fought for 300 years to remain independent. We developed technologies that made us valuable to certain interests. When we lost, those who survived were scattered to prevent us from regrouping." Marcus nodded. The galaxy was full of similar stories. "Well, you're safe here. The Phoenix doesn't judge anyone by their past." That evening, Marcus prepared a simple meal in the ship's galley. He found Cree in the cargo bay, already working despite not officially starting until morning. She had organized cleaning supplies with military precision and was analyzing stains on the deck plating. "You don't waste time," Marcus observed, setting down a tray of food. "Idle hands serve no purpose," Cree replied, accepting the meal gratefully. "Captain, may I ask why you hired me?" Surely there were cheaper options. Marcus sat on a cargo crate, considering his answer. "My grandfather taught me something when I was young. He said you can judge a person's character by how they treat those who have nothing to offer them. You needed work? You were honest about your situation, and you didn't try to oversell yourself. They ate in comfortable silence for a while. Kree's table manners were meticulous, another sign of her military background. The Centauri resistance, Marcus said eventually. Were you really just a combat engineer? Kree's eating slowed. I held the rank of technical specialist first class. My duties included various responsibilities. That was definitely not the whole truth, but Marcus didn't press. Everyone had secrets in the outer rim. As night cycle approached, Marcus showed Kree to the spare crew quarters. The room was small but clean, with a basic bed and storage locker. Thank you for this opportunity, Captain, Kree said. It has been some time since anyone showed me such kindness. Marcus felt a pang of sympathy. War refugees often struggled with the adjustment to civilian life, especially proud warrior cultures like the Centauri. Get some rest. Tomorrow will be a long day. He was heading to his own quarters when the ship's proximity alarms began screaming. Red lights bathed the corridors as his communication system crackled to life. All ships in Docking Bay 7, prepare for immediate inspection. This is Hegemony Enforcement Division. Resistance will be met with lethal force. Marcus's blood ran cold. Hegemony troops on Proxima Station could only mean one thing. They were hunting someone specific. His mind immediately went to Kree. Through the porthole, he could see armed soldiers in black armor marching toward the docking bays. Their weapons were charged and ready. This wasn't a routine inspection. Marcus ran to the crew quarters and found Kree standing perfectly still in the center of her room. She had heard the announcement, too. Is there something you need to tell me? Marcus asked. Kree's forearms moved in a complex gesture that Marcus recognized as a Centauri battle salute. I am sorry, Captain Chen. I did not intend to bring danger to your ship. What aren't you telling me? For a moment, Kree seemed to wrestle with herself. Then her posture straightened with military bearing. My true rank was Technical Specialist Alpha. I was responsible for developing quantum encryption protocols for the Resistance. The Hegemony believes I carry classified information that could restart the war. Marcus stared at her. Do you? Yes. The sound of boots on metal grew louder outside. They had maybe 2 minutes before the soldiers reached his ship. Can you fight? Marcus asked. Captain, I cannot ask you to— Can you fight? He repeated. Kree's eyes blazed with inner fire. Yes. Marcus grabbed his sidearm from his cabin and tossed Kree a plasma rifle from the ship's emergency locker. Then we fight. Nobody boards my ship without permission. As he armed the ship's defensive systems, Marcus realized this quiet refugee was about to show him exactly why the Hegemony feared the Centauri resistance. Something told him this was going to be a very long night. The first Hegemony soldier appeared at the airlock just as all the lights went out. Emergency lighting cast eerie red shadows through the Iron Phoenix as Marcus crouched behind the airlock controls. The power shutdown had been deliberate, Kree's doing, though he hadn't seen her touch anything. The Centauri clearly had skills beyond basic cleaning. Phoenix Actual, this is Enforcement Team Alpha, crackled through the comm system. You have 30 seconds to restore power and open your airlock, or we will breach your hull. Marcus keyed his communicator. This is Captain Chen. What's your legal authority for boarding my ship? Proxima Station maintains neutral space protocols. We have reliable intelligence that you're harboring a war criminal. Surrender the Centauri terrorist, and we'll consider reducing charges against you. Terrorist. That word made Marcus's jaw clench. He'd seen what the Hegemony called terrorism, usually civilians defending their homes from occupation forces. Kree appeared beside him like a ghost, moving through the darkness with perfect silence. Her 4 arms held different equipment, some kind of technical device, a plasma rifle, and 2 items Marcus couldn't identify. Captain, I can disable their boarding equipment, but it will require accessing the station's power grid through your ship's connection, she whispered. "The process will take approximately 12 minutes. What happens if they breach the hull first?" Kree's mandibles clicked in what Marcus was learning meant grim determination. "Then we demonstrate why Centauri soldiers never surrender." The ship shuddered as magnetic clamps attached to the outer hull. They were preparing to cut through. "Do it," Marcus said. "I'll buy you time." He opened an emergency channel to Proxima Station Control. "Control, this is registered cargo vessel Phoenix in Bay 7. Hegemony forces are attempting illegal boarding action. Request immediate assistance." The response came back tense and apologetic. "Phoenix, we're sorry, but Hegemony enforcement has claimed jurisdiction. We cannot intervene." So much for neutral space. Marcus switched to ship-wide communications and made an announcement that would either save them or get them killed. "Attention Docking Bay 7. This is Captain Marcus Chen of the Iron Phoenix. I am a human citizen operating under colonial trade agreements. Any attempt to board my vessel without proper documentation constitutes an act of piracy under Terran law." The cutting sounds outside paused for a moment. Good. The Hegemony might be willing to push around refugees, but humans had a reputation that made even military commanders think twice. "You have one chance to withdraw," Marcus continued. "Otherwise, I'm declaring this a hostile action and responding accordingly." Kree was already deep into her technical work, 4 hands dancing across multiple devices simultaneously. Whatever she was doing involved the ship's power systems, because Marcus could feel subtle vibrations through the deck plating. "Fascinating," Kree murmured. "Human ship designs are remarkably adaptable. Your power distribution network can handle load balancing I would not have expected." "Focus, Kree." "How much longer?" 8 minutes, 17 seconds. The cutting resumed outside, faster now. They were using heavier equipment. Marcus grabbed his rifle and moved to the corridor junction that led to the airlock. If they broke through, this choke point would force them to come at him one at a time, at least initially. "Captain," Kree called softly, "what I am about to do will likely attract significant attention from multiple governments. Are you certain you wish to proceed?" Marcus thought about his grandfather's words, about judging character by how you treated people who had nothing to offer, about the difference between what was legal and what was right. "Do it." The cutting sounds grew louder. Marcus estimated they had maybe 3 minutes before breach. He checked his rifle's charge and settled into a defensive position. That's when Kree did something impossible. The lights throughout the entire docking bay section of Proxima Station began flickering in complex patterns, not randomly, in precise sequences that looked almost like code. Emergency alarms started wailing from multiple ships as their power systems fluctuated wildly. "What are you doing?" Marcus asked. "Demonstrating why the Hegemony wants me dead," Kree replied calmly. Through the porthole, Marcus could see Hegemony soldiers arguing frantically among themselves. Their cutting equipment had shut down completely. Even their armor's power indicators were flickering. "Quantum encryption protocols," Marcus realized. "You're not just a technician, you're a quantum systems specialist." "The Centauri developed quantum power distribution during our war. Every piece of technology can be converted into a weapon if you understand the underlying quantum mechanics." Kree's voice carried grim satisfaction. "I am currently rewriting the power grid protocols for this entire station section." Marcus watched in amazement as the Hegemony soldiers' weapons began shutting down one by one. Their armor's life support systems flickered. Emergency lighting throughout the docking bay died completely. "Captain Chen," came a very different voice over the communicator. "This is Commander Voss, Hegemony Naval Intelligence. We need to discuss terms." "No terms," Marcus replied. "Withdraw your forces, and we'll stop turning your equipment into expensive paperweights." There was a long pause. "The individual you're protecting has information vital to galactic security." The individual I'm protecting is under my ship's sovereign protection as a hired crew member. Take it up with the Colonial Trade Authority." Marcus could hear heated arguments over the comm channel. Someone was definitely not happy with this development. Kree's work had moved to a new phase. Now she was connecting directly to his ship's navigation computer. "Captain, I am uploading quantum security protocols to your ship's systems. This will make your vessel effectively invisible to most hegemony tracking methods. Is that legal? Probably not." Kree's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. "But neither is boarding civilian vessels in neutral space." The cutting sounds had stopped completely. Through the porthole, Marcus could see the hegemony soldiers retreating to their transport ship. Their equipment was completely dead. "Phoenix, this is Commander Voss. We are withdrawing under protest. This matter is not concluded." "Looking forward to your complaint filing," Marcus replied. "Make sure to include the part where you tried to commit piracy." As the hegemony transport detached from the station, normal power began returning to the docking bay. Kree carefully shut down her quantum devices and slumped against the bulkhead. The effort had clearly drained her. "That was incredible," Marcus said, "but they'll be back with better equipment." "Yes, which is why we cannot remain here." Kree looked directly at him with all four eyes. "Captain, I must ask something difficult of you. The information I carry could restart the Centauri resistance, but it could also save millions of lives if properly used. I need to reach the Centauri colonies, where there are still people who remember what freedom means." Marcus considered this. Transporting a fugitive with military secrets across half the galaxy would end his career if they were caught. On the other hand, he'd just declared war on the hegemony's enforcement division. "How long to reach Centauri space?" 3 weeks through normal space lanes. 18 days if we risk the void routes." The void routes were unmarked hyperspace corridors through regions where normal navigation failed. Pirates used them, along with smugglers and anyone else who needed to disappear quickly. "What's the information you're carrying?" Kree hesitated, then made a decision. "Quantum cascade protocols. The technology that could make any star system's power grid into a defensive weapon. The hegemony fears it because it would make occupying independent worlds impossible." Marcus whistled softly. That kind of technology could indeed change the balance of power in the galaxy. "There's something else," Kree continued. "The protocols only work with human-designed power systems. Centauri technology is too specialized, hegemony systems too centralized. But human systems are adaptable enough to handle quantum cascade implementation." Now Marcus understood why she'd seemed so fascinated with his ship's power distribution. "You're saying humans are the key to making this work?" "Yes, which is why I chose your ship, Captain Chen. This was not random chance." Marcus looked out at the now quiet docking bay. In the distance, he could see more hegemony ships approaching the station. They had maybe an hour before the real hunt began. "All right, Kree. Centauri colonies it is, but we do this my way. No more secrets, no more surprises. If we're partners in this, we're partners completely." Kree performed another Centauri salute. "Agreed, Captain. Though I should warn you, the journey will be far more dangerous than either of us can imagine." Marcus began pre-flight preparations as Kree secured her equipment. Neither of them noticed the small quantum transmitter that had briefly activated during the power grid manipulation. Deep in hegemony space, ancient machines were already calculating pursuit vectors. The real chase was about to begin. The Iron Phoenix dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Kepler Nebula. 18 days into their journey to Centauri space, Marcus had chosen the nebula route specifically because its electromagnetic interference would mask their ship's signature from most sensors. What he hadn't expected was to find a massive hegemony blockade waiting for them. 12 destroyers, 4 cruisers, and what looks like a command dreadnought, Marcus reported, studying the sensor displays. "They knew we were coming." Cree moved between multiple workstations with fluid efficiency, her 4 arms operating different systems simultaneously. Over the past weeks, she had integrated herself into the ship's operations in ways that amazed Marcus daily. The Centauri didn't just understand technology, they seemed to communicate with it. "Captain, there is something I must tell you," Cree said, without looking up from her calculations. "The quantum cascade protocols I carry are not complete." Marcus felt his stomach drop. "What do you mean, not complete?" "The Centauri resistance scattered the information across multiple carriers to prevent capture. I possess approximately 60% of the total data." Cree's mandibles clicked in distress. The remaining portions were carried by other survivors who attempted to reach different safe zones. "So the information you're carrying is useless?" "Not useless, but incomplete. However, there may be a solution." Cree turned to face him fully. "The nebula contains a derelict research station, Kepler 7. My people established it as an emergency data cache during the war. If any other carriers reached safety, they would have uploaded their portions there." Marcus studied the tactical display. The blockade was positioned to intercept any ship attempting to reach Centauri space through normal routes. But the research station lay deeper in the nebula, hidden within the electromagnetic storms. "The interference would hide us from their sensors," Marcus mused. "But it would also blind our navigation systems." "Not if we use quantum resonance navigation." Cree's expression grew determined. "I can modify your ship's systems to track quantum signatures through the storm. The technique is unproven on human vessels." "Meaning?" "Meaning we might find the station, or we might be torn apart by gravitational anomalies." A proximity alarm chimed. The hegemony blockade had detected their emergence from hyperspace and was moving to intercept. Marcus had maybe 20 minutes before the nearest destroyer reached weapons range. "Do it," he said. "But Cree, if we don't survive this, I want you to know that these have been the most extraordinary weeks of my life. Your people's knowledge, your dedication to freedom. It's inspiring." Cree paused in her preparations, all 4 arms stilling. "Captain Chen, Marcus, you have shown me that not all hope is lost. Humans possess something my people had forgotten during our long war. You maintain compassion even in conflict." Marcus began evasive maneuvers as Cree's modifications took effect. The ship's power systems hummed with unfamiliar harmonics as quantum resonance arrays came online. Through the viewports, the nebula's swirling gases took on new patterns, streams of energy that seemed to pulse with purpose. "I am reading quantum signatures from 17 different locations within the nebula," Cree reported. "Most are natural phenomena, but 3 show artificial patterns consistent with Centauri technology." The pursuing destroyer fired a warning shot that strobed past their port side. Marcus pushed the Phoenix into the nebula's outer edges, feeling the ship shudder as charged particles buffeted their hull. "Warning, unidentified vessel," came the hegemony transmission. "You are entering a restricted military zone. Reverse course immediately or face destruction." Marcus switched to an open channel. "This is Captain Chen of the Phoenix. We're a civilian cargo vessel experiencing navigation difficulties, requesting safe passage to the nearest repair station. Phoenix, transmit your cargo manifest and passenger list for inspection." Instead of responding, Marcus drove deeper into the nebula. The electromagnetic interference would prevent the hegemony from detecting their exact position, but it also meant they were flying blind except for Cree's quantum navigation. "Second signature is getting stronger," Cree announced. "Distance approximately 40,000 kilometers, bearing 07 Mark III. The Phoenix bucked and rolled as they navigated through the nebula's energy streams. Marcus had to trust Cree's readings completely. His normal sensors showed nothing but static. "Contact," Cree said suddenly. "I am detecting a structured quantum field ahead." Configuration matches Centauri research protocols. Through the swirling gases, a dark shape emerged. Kepler 7 Research Station. The facility was massive, easily the size of a small city, but it showed no signs of power or life. Hull breaches scarred its surface where the war had finally reached even this hidden refuge. "Can you determine if any other survivors made it here?" Marcus asked. Cree was already scanning the station's quantum residue patterns. "Yes. 3 different carriers uploaded data to the central archive within the past 8 months. The cascade protocols should be complete." They docked with one of the station's intact airlocks. The interior was dark and cold, but Kree's equipment confirmed the data storage cores were still functional. As they made their way through the abandoned corridors, emergency lighting flickered to life in response to their presence. The central archive chamber was a vast sphere lined with quantum storage matrices. Even powered down, the technology hummed with barely contained energy. Cree approached the central terminal with something approaching reverence. "My people's final gift to the galaxy," she said softly. "Everything we learned about quantum manipulation, energy cascade theory, defensive applications, all of it preserved here." As Cree began the download process, Marcus monitored their approach route. The nebula's interference would hide them for a while, but the hegemony would eventually send smaller ships to search systematically. "How long do you need?" "The quantum encryption requires careful extraction, perhaps 30 minutes to ensure data integrity." "We might not have 30 minutes?" That's when the station's automated defenses activated. Hidden weapon emplacements throughout the facility powered up, creating a defensive grid that extended deep into the nebula. Ancient Centauri technology awakened after years of dormancy. "The station is responding to my presence," Cree explained. "Emergency protocols are engaging. This facility was designed to protect itself and its contents until qualified personnel could retrieve the data." Through the viewing ports, Marcus watched quantum energy webs spread through the surrounding space. When the first hegemony scout ship encountered the defensive grid, it simply ceased to exist, not destroyed, but converted into component energy and dispersed. "Impressive," Marcus said. "Your people really knew how to build defenses." "This is nothing compared to what we could accomplish with the complete cascade protocols," Cree replied. "Every human colony could become effectively unconquerable. Every trade route could be protected by quantum barriers. The age of military occupation would end." The download completed just as multiple hegemony ships entered the nebula's outer regions. They were conducting a systematic search pattern that would reach the station within hours. "Data transfer complete," Cree announced. "I now possess the complete quantum cascade protocols." Marcus prepared for departure, but Cree hesitated at the terminal. "What's wrong?" "I must make a choice, Marcus. The protocols require a quantum-linked consciousness to implement properly. Once I begin the upload to your ship's systems, the process will bond the technology to both your vessel and my neural patterns permanently." "What does that mean?" "It means I can never leave your ship again. The quantum bonding will make separation fatal for both myself and the technology." Cree met his eyes steadily. "But it also means the Iron Phoenix will become the most advanced vessel in the galaxy, capable of protecting itself and implementing cascade defenses anywhere in human space." Marcus understood the sacrifice she was offering. "Cree, I can't ask you to give up your freedom for my ship." "You are not asking. I am choosing." Her mandibles clicked in what he now recognized as quiet joy. "When I first came to your ship, I was a refugee with nothing but painful memories. You gave me purpose, partnership, and hope. Now I can give something back, not just to you, but to the ideals we both believe in." The bonding process began immediately. Energy flowed between Cree and the ship's systems as quantum cascade protocols integrated into every circuit, every power conduit, every control interface. Marcus felt the Phoenix transform around them, not just a cargo hauler anymore, but something entirely new. When the process completed, Cree collapsed but remained conscious. Her eyes now held flecks of the same quantum energy that pulsed through the ship's walls. "How do you feel?" Marcus asked. "I feel connected. To you, to the ship, to possibilities I never imagined." Cree smiled, an expression that seemed different now, more human somehow. "We should leave. The hegemony approaches." The Phoenix departed Kepler 7, just as the research station's automated systems activated a final protocol. The entire facility vanished in a cascade of quantum energy, taking its secrets with it. Only the Iron Phoenix now carried the knowledge that could change the balance of power across the galaxy. As they emerged from the nebula, the hegemony blockade moved to intercept. But this time, Marcus wasn't running. Quantum barriers flowed around the Phoenix like water, deflecting weapons fire harmlessly. Energy cascades erupted from their engine wake, disabling pursuit ships without destroying them. "This is the Phoenix to Hegemony Command," Marcus transmitted. "We're departing your operational area. Any attempt to follow us will be met with defensive measures you cannot counter. Suggest you file a complaint through proper diplomatic channels." The response came from the command dreadnought itself. "Phoenix, you are harboring stolen military technology. Stand down immediately." Marcus looked at Cree, who was now integrated into every system on his ship. She nodded encouragingly. "Hegemony Command, the technology aboard this vessel belongs to its rightful owners, people who believe in freedom. We're taking it where it can do the most good." Marcus paused, then added, "Tell your commanders that the age of easy conquest is over. Humanity doesn't surrender, and we don't abandon our allies." The Phoenix jumped to hyperspace, leaving the Hegemony fleet far behind. Ahead lay Centauri space, where human colonies were already implementing quantum defense networks based on preliminary data Cree had transmitted during their journey. "What happens now?" Marcus asked. "Now we begin the real work," Cree replied. "Teaching your people to use quantum cascade technology, establishing defensive networks, and making sure the galaxy never forgets what freedom costs." Marcus smiled as he plotted their course. He had hired an alien refugee to clean his ship. Instead, she had helped him become part of something much larger. A partnership between species that proved cooperation was stronger than conquest. Behind them, the Hegemony fleet limped back to base, carrying news that would reshape military planning across the galaxy. The humans had found new allies, and together they were becoming something no empire could control. The Iron Phoenix flew toward a future where freedom had the strongest defenders in the galaxy.